Friends, we know that the microgravity can actually cause havoc on the human body. There is a lot of study being done in this arena because we have been going to space for almost like 5 decades. So we know exactly what is going on with regard to bone, with regard to your blood pressure, with regard to various components in your body, and how the microgravity affects adversely on the astronaut's body. Now we're talking about going to space, conquering, Mars, going establishing colony on the moon. So how this change in gravity, while during transit there will be microgravity, and when you land on these surfaces like Mars and Jupiter, Moon, then the gravity of Moon and Mars is lower than Earth. So when people live on these surfaces, how it will impact their bodies, we know fairly well. On the other hand, we also know that there are certain diseases, there are certain complications with human body which can only be eradicated if we can actually do a root cause analysis. And one of the studies shows that if you actually use stem cells, then a person can live for very long time, and you can actually conquer your death even. I mean, you can prolong your life, etc. For those who do not know what is stem cell is the cell which are formed in the embryo when the human body is taking shape inside the womb. And the stem cells are so unique. They have the capability to change into any type of cell when the baby is basically getting formed. So the stem cell is uniform. However, based on certain parameter, the stem cell can become a bone cell, can become a muscle, can become any other type of cell, and therefore stem cells actually create all components of your body. So the science shows that if you extract the stem cell at the time the embryo is getting formed, then you can store them, you can actually freeze them in a liquid nitrogen, and in future if this patient from whom you have actually taken the stem cell comes into a situation where he needs a new body part, the stem cells can be used to generate those body parts. So there are a lot of doctors who are actually saying that why don't you store the stem cells for your children, and this is actually going on. So we know there are two sides of our survival. One is that we need to go out into the space and face the microgravity, face the radiation. On the other hand, we already know that if we can extract the stem cells, then we can probably get rid of many complications and diseases, and we can live comfortably, and we can even conquer diseases like cancer, etc. So why don't we merge these two? And this is exactly the discussion we have today. My name is Chandrakant. I welcome you all on Akulmach. And let's start this very interesting discussion. What is going on in this arena? When we step out into the space and face the microgravity. So let's start. And what is the first point in our discussion today? That is the benefit of microgravity. When it comes to microgravity, and if you grow the stem cells in the space itself, then some of the complications can be avoided, because these stem cells will be used to the microgravity environment, and they will evolve in a totally different manner while in space. So if the human being is also in space experiencing microgravity, surviving there for a couple of years in microgravity environment, then the stem cells will be ideal to fix the problem if it arises. We already know that microgravity creates bone reduction, muscle reduction, um, complications with the heart, sometimes neurological complications as well. Now, if we have the stem cells which are growing in the microgravity environment, we have extracted those stem cells in the microgravity environment. The stem cells will be completely used to that environment, and we use um, the stem cells to fix some of these problems along the way in our journey. Then then the solution may be permanent. That is what the latest research is showing, and therefore there are a whole lot of benefit of extracting stem cells in outer space so that the human who are actually venturing into outer space can survive. A lot of planning may be required here, because at the time of stem cell extraction, the mother needs to be sent to the space. Extraction can be done in space, and then the stem cells can be kept in a safe environment, maybe frozen in the outer space. You don't have to bring them back to Earth. So, meticulous planning is required. Put a vault in the space itself where these stem cells will be stored. All right, so this is the benefit of having the microgravity extraction of stem cells in a zero gravity or a microgravity environment. What is the next benefit? Next benefit is regenerative. We know that the stem cells have the capability to regenerate into any body part of your human body. It can become an eye, it can become skin, it can become, you can grow hard out of these stem cells. So if the need arises, the stem cells can be used to generate a body part which is going bad in your body. Now, the stem cells are so revolutionary because there will be no mismatch. So, since the stem cells were taken out when you as a human being was in the embryo state, so it's basically your body part which was extracted when embryo was forming. In future, when you are 30 years old or even older, the stem cells which will be used for you to regenerate the parts will be your body parts. So there will be no rejection. So just in case, if you want to replace your heart, you can generate using the stem cells. Uh, there are other organs that may be required. Some people will have a liver issue, some people may have kidney issues. So all of these different organs can be generated using the stem cells which you have already extracted and stored in the vault. It will change the way you actually venture into the outer space, because there will be no stopping humans. There will be no worry. Just in case anything is going wrong, you have the capability to fix it and live for longer period of time. And that is one thing which is required if you're actually making long space flight. You don't want the human population to decline during the transit, right? So I think the stem cells will help our journey into outer space quite a bit. Let's move on to the next point, and that is the disease model. We know different diseases which exist on the planet Earth, but when we step out and we move away from this close confinement of the Earth, we may encounter new complications. We know there are certain complications which we know, but then there are some complications that we may not be able to know right now, right? So if we step out, and there could be new bacteria, new diseases which are waiting out there. So if we have the stem cells stored for all the astronauts, we will not be worried about it, because using the stem cells, the doctors can do research and find out how the stem cells are getting affected by anything which is external, which we do not know. So a lot of research can be done on the stem cells itself, and stem cells are something which can keep growing. You can grow them in a laboratory environment, and therefore you can also do research on the stem cells. So how it is going to affect each individual, we can actually do testing pre-hand before sending that individual into the outer space. So I think these are certain things which brings a lot of benefit. The disease modeling, how the disease will, or a new type of pathogen is going to impact your astronaut colony, and how many people will be infected and will get affected, how many will not, will have immunity system which will take over. All of this analysis can be done before you land on that surface of a new planet, and this may be very, very handy, especially for the space flight, future space flight, especially longer space flight. What are the other benefits that we have? Well, if we can model the disease, we should also be able to do drug development, how to eradicate those diseases. If we are using the stem cells rather than using the human subject for testing, you can actually use the stem cells and you can also develop different drugs and tests on the stem cells. So this is going to revolutionize how you actually launch your drugs to eradicate any kind of diseases that you may encounter. And if you work genetically on the stem cells, you use some DNA alteration, then you may become a superhuman also, because you will have solution for everything. You can actually do all of those things. And even in case you have some body part which require replacement, you should be able to use that as well, using the stem cells. So the latest thought process is that while we have done a lot of research on the stem cells on this planet, we've also done research almost been going on for 5 decades. The effect of microgravity on human body, we can now merge the two. And because there is enough research with us, we should now merge the two and start making plans of long lasting human space flight, and also space colonies on different surfaces, different planets and satellites out there. Lastly, the space medicine program can be launched. And the idea is that you can do research anywhere. You don't have to do research in the same vessel which is traveling. The research can be done anywhere. Anyone can actually do research on the stem cells using AI and different kinds of software, etc. And in case some drug needs to be developed or a body parts need to be generated, you can use the 3D print technology to generate these body parts. And then these body parts will be implanted inside that subject. So the research can be happening anywhere. For example, some space station somewhere out there, and moment they find a solution, they can beam the information to the 3D printer present in the spacecraft where the organ is required, and this 3D printer will print the organ, which can be then put inside the human, who is affected. So you can imagine, how the human race will propel forward by combining different aspects of our technological advancements. And once the research is done, once the solution is found, it will get into some sort of a database which will be accessed by humans across the galactical empire. So I think this whole thing is going to revolutionize how space medications will be provided to the future astronaut. So this is something which is very interesting. This is something which is going to happen. The research is being done as we speak. All we need to do is keep everything ready. We know that there are a lot of challenges when we make the space flight. We need to work on our spacecraft. We need to work on the propulsion. We need to work on food problem, resources, all kinds of issues, atmosphere for the astronaut, and also in case they are falling sick, we should be able to fix them as well. So, friends, this is something very interesting, and I thought I will talk about it this morning. What is your view? I will like to know from you. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one.